so sorry for the slight delay, but welcome to Autodesigner and the future of product design. My name is Hannah. I am Uizard's Global Community Manager, and we are so excited to be welcoming you here today. Please let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from. I can see lots of different countries popping up in the chat already, so please keep them coming. We have an incredible event planned for you. You'll be hearing from Tony, our CEO and co-founder, as well as Riz, our Director of Customer Relations. And today's event is all about celebrating Autodesigner. So of course, we will be demoing Autodesigner for you live, showcasing to you how you can positively introduce it into your workflow. You'll also hear from Tony on the future of product design and how Autodesigner fits within the space. But we want to make this session as interactive as possible. So as I said, please keep the chat coming. Please ask any questions you have in the question box, which is just to the right of the chat, and we'll be sure to address them in the Q&A at the end. This session is being recorded, and we are also live streaming on YouTube. So hello to all of our YouTube subscribers. Once the event has wrapped up, you will be able to watch the event replay on rerun. So I think that's everything from me. I'll check back in with you all at the end for the Q&A. But for now, enjoy. Please keep the questions coming. And I'm going to hand over to Tony, Uizard's CEO and co-founder.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are coming from. And thanks for joining us for this event. I'm sure all of you are really busy and taking a chunk of your day to be with us. So thanks a ton. That means a lot. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll chat about a few things. So today I would love, before to let Rizwan demonstrate to you how some of our business customers are already using Autodesigner for their production workflow, I would love to take us through a brief history of design tools. Why Uizard? Why did we build this tool? And finally, how we think Autodesigner can be, a building block for the future of design. So I guess all of you here know this already much better than a lot of other people, is that software alone is no longer good enough. If you want to launch a product, you need to have good design. Great software requires great design. And so if we are to look back at the history of design tools, we're all familiar with Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, but it kind of baffled my mind when you realize that these tools were actually started in 1990. And it took 20 years for the industry to realize that, all right, we have Adobe software, Illustrator, Photoshop, which are fantastic graphic design tools. But now we have all these companies building software, and we probably need a better design tool just for software design. And that's why, Sketch came out. And throughout these 20 years, companies around the world started to realize how important design was for serving the customers better and ultimately enable their business to thrive. And then we saw Canva a few years after coming to market to help, folks do graphic design for marketing. And again, through this period of time, companies of all sizes realized, yeah, design is actually driving better services for customers, better product for users, and ultimately better revenue. And then Figma came in 2016 and basically thinking, hey, let's do what Sketch did, which is to build a design tool specifically made for product design, but by having it online on the web so people can collaborate. The challenge as we've seen it, however, is that out of the 3 million of people working in tech in the US and many more around the world, less than 1% of these people are designers. And the challenge is that it's not just designers that need to be part of the design processes, typically. There is a ton of other people. And so that's why we built Uizard. We thought, let's just build a design tool that can be used by designers, but can also be used by everybody else within the team. And so our mission is really to make design inclusive, accessible, open, and collaborative, such that everybody around the team have a way to communicate their ideas and their thoughts with their colleagues, and ultimately build better products for their customers. And we thought for a very long time that the only way we can make design accessible is to use AI to make it easier and, well, basically more open to everyone. And so how is Uizard different? There are two guiding principles that we remind ourselves weekly when we build new features and shape the product. First of all, it needs to be simple and intuitive for everybody, designers and non-designers alike, such that the tool really becomes open and collaborative and inclusive. And second, let's build AI features so we can assist you guys, you folks, into turning your brainwaves, your ideas into something tangible that you can then go on and build upon. And sometimes we've been called the design hipsters because we've been basically building AI for design since 2018. And we, the result is that we've been building a lot of core technology. And if you're interested, actually, it's something you can actually read on our research page on our website. If you want to see, what are some of the building blocks that ultimately gave rise to Uizard as we know it today. And ultimately, all these AI models is enabling us to build what we like to believe is close to magic. And so over the years, we've been able to build the wireframe scanners that you've seen, Wireframe Mode, theme generator, so you can create themes from a screenshot, an image, a URL, screenshot scanner, which is actually one of our most popular AI features, where you can turn, well, a screenshot into an editable design, focus predictor, and eventually text assistant, where we decided to basically combine all our core AI for design models and combine it with OpenAI for text. So we can actually just, combine the best of both worlds and enabling you all to build on top of this. So we've launched text assistant, image generator, and then we started to work on the foundation for Autodesigner about 9 months ago. And then this came out. This is like a prediction by Sequoia Capital, the famous Silicon Valley VC, where they said that they predicted that between 2023 and 2025, there will be generative AI for product design. And so this is the moment where we had started to do research with our team, and we were like, all right, hold my beer. Let's see if we can make it happen faster. And we're really excited to have finally launched Autodesigner for everybody last week. So it's out there and you can use it. But so how does it actually work? So first of all, whenever you type something in Autodesigner and you hit the generate button, we'll basically generate the screens, the layout of the project you're trying to generate. We'll style it. We'll generate the style accordingly. We'll generate text and content for it. We'll find the right icons, the right images, and then we'll also generate unique illustrations based on your prompt. So it's like really something unique for your project and for your project specifically. And then we tie all of this together, enable links to be clickable and connect to screens. And all of this happens in 30, 60 seconds. And so we have tons more things coming up beyond Autodesigner to kind of like take that magic and then put it elsewhere in the editor, so you can have a more seamless design workflow post Autodesigner. I can't tell you how excited I am about what the team is currently working on. So yeah, please stay tuned. There's a ton of new cool stuff coming up in the next few quarters. So yeah, Autodesigner and Uizard is literally enabling all of us to let our power shine and combine by enabling design to be more collaborative, more open, and more inclusive. And so with that said, I will let Rizwan show you how some of our customers are currently using Autodesigner in production for their project.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Tony. I am going to take you through a walkthrough of Autodesigner and all of Wizard's AI features. Before we jump into that, what you might want to do is if you currently hover above the screen, in the bottom right-hand side, you will see full screen stage, and that may actually help you see all of the details I'm going to show you in today's demo. But just give me a moment and let me share my screen. Okay. I see someone's asking, when would this presentation end? I'm sorry, Am. I'll try to make this as entertaining as possible. Okay, here we go. So this is a dashboard that you land on when you first come into Wizard. Now, the first thing you'll see at the top is you'll see Start Creating. And with the Wizard platform, you can start in a number of ways. You can start from a blank project. You can start from a template as well. So you can look through a library of existing templates, which I'll show you in just a moment. We'll just wait for these to load up. And we're always adding to this library of templates. And then, of course, you can also start from Autodesigner. And Autodesigner is going to be the fastest way for you to start if you're starting afresh and you have a specific idea in mind. So we're going to come here and I'm going to click on Generate with Autodesigner. Now, the first thing you're going to see is this modal where I can type in my app idea. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide which device I'm designing for. You can do mobile, tablet, and web. I'm going to go with mobile. And here you can describe your project in plain English. Now, when it comes to prompting here, what we recommend is firstly, describing what type of app it is, especially if you're doing something for web. So if you're doing something for web, you may want to actually distinguish whether your idea is a web app or a website. I'm going to actually start with mobile. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type out an app idea. So I'm going to do a flight booking app for people with disabilities. And then needs to have a list of airlines and how accessible they are. Okay, great. One of the guides that I personally would recommend, when you're describing a project, is imagine describing it like you would be describing your idea to a friend of yours. Really, kind of breaking it down and describing, what features it should have. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to describe a style. So what I'll do is I want it to be light blue with rounded buttons. And of course, the designers amongst us, you can go, you can get pretty descriptive on here to get the theme that you're looking for. We also have some preset options down here. So if you just want some inspiration, you don't quite know the style, one of the things you can do is you can put in very kind of like famous websites in here, like Airbnb or BBC, or you can just choose some of these presets and just at least generate a style to begin with. But what I'll show you is how you can actually just continue to iterate on that style post-conversion. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click Generate My Project. One thing I'll point out while this generates is that this currently is in beta. And this product is going to evolve throughout the year. So this is our first kind of step into the world of generative AI in particular. While this loads up, I'm going to pause right here for a moment. And Hannah, do we have any questions from our community?
We do, yeah. We've got a few, and I'm sure a lot of them will be answered as you go through the demo, Riz. But for now, I think one that we get constantly is, will you be able to sort of regenerate what you create? So will you be able to try it again?
Okay, well that's perfect timing. This is actually this is loaded quicker than even I anticipate here. But as you can see, once you do a generation, in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll have two options. You'll have generate another and regenerate. Now, if you click regenerate, what it's going to do is it's going to regenerate the project using the exact same text prompt. And the way that this works is it'll actually try to give you something different. So if you're, some of the business use cases that we've seen for Wizard is oftentimes it'll be used in a brainstorming session or a workshop where you go in and you've got an idea and you want to generate it quickly. And what you can do is you can generate your idea. And anytime you do generate an idea, it's automatically saved. But then you can also regenerate it, and it will try to give you some different screens. So you can do this a couple of times and just collect your inspiration. And I'll show you how you can do that by templating. And then, of course, you can also generate another. And what this will do is take you back to the screen where you can type in a description of your text of your project. And you can either add to your idea, or you can just come up with something completely new. Now, let's actually take a look at the results here. So I'm going to zoom in. The first thing you'll see is it's named itself Flight Able. As just to remind you, I generated a mobile app for people with disabilities to be able to book flights. So we've got some onboarding here, accessible airlines, accessibility information, nearby airlines. We've got categories here: domestic, international, direct, and connecting. And then we've got a search page here. We've got like a list overview of accessible flights. Then we've got a product details page here where I can start editing all of this information. We've got some reviews from flyers on a particular airline, and then a booking details page. So straight away, as you can see here, it's given me some screens. It's given me the ability to search for airlines, the ability to book, and it's also given me some inspiration. So here I can start listing airlines. I can talk about how accessible they are. And I can really just start filling in the information. It's given me that inspiration to work with. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I might not be happy with the theme that I've got here, or maybe I'm in a stage where I want to collaborate a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the Magic tab. Now, the Magic tab the Magic tab has all of our Magic and AI features. And the first one I'm going to show you is Theme Generator. Now, the way Theme Generator works is that I can come in here and I can create a theme from scratch where I can set the colors and the font styles and you know, if the buttons are rounded or not. But what I can also do is I can just grab a piece of inspiration and create a theme from it. So I can come in here and I can grab a screenshot, and the screenshot could be of my own application. It could be inspiration from Dribbble. If you work for an agency or consultancy, it could be your client's application. And I can click create. And what this is going to do is it's going to analyze that image and help create a theme from that image. It works best if you use screens. It's looking for things like buttons and icons. But as you can see here, it's quickly captured and applied that theme. And if I click button on the left-hand side, you can see all 3 button types. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I can also do this with a website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for Vogue's website. It's black and white, which I know will make some of the designers in the room pretty happy in terms of style. But this works in the same way. It's going to take a screenshot of Vogue's website. And again, when you're putting in a URL link, you want a link that has buttons and icons so it can understand and help create a theme from it. You can put in some abstract images as well, but it's going to create an abstract theme for you. So it really depends on, you know, like how accurate you want to be. But again, with the website, what you see is very quickly, we've got this looking like it belongs to Vogue. This is a killer theme if you know, you don't know exactly how you want your app to look yet in terms of color styles. Like me, I'm not a designer. I'm going to need inspiration if I want to create an app. So I can use a service like Dribbble, or I can find it online and use it. And then like from a business, you know, just quickly making it look like it belongs to your own brand, or quickly making it look like it belongs to your client. You know, if you're working for an agency or consultancy, imagine that before you see a client, you can quickly produce some visuals and make it look like it belongs to them, you know, within a couple of minutes. It's a huge, huge time saver. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is, you know, once I've done this generation, there might be some screens that I want to add in that didn't generate. And for this, we have a feature called Screenshot Scanner. With Screenshot Scanner, what I'll do is I'll go back to my original theme. With Screenshot Scanner, what I can do is I can take a screenshot of any mobile app, website, or platform. I can upload it to Uizard and turn it into an editable mockup. So some of the use cases for this is sometimes, again, you may be in a workshop and you may bring in inspiration from competitors or from other platforms. And as you can see here, it's converted. Now all of this is completely editable. If I want to change the text here, I can change the text. If I want to change any of the colors, I can do so. If I want to start templating some of these designs, I can also do that and add this to other screens. But again, this just speeds up the process of ideation. I can bring in inspiration from other screens. I don't have to hope that I manage to get it from the generation. I can add it to the generation. It speeds up that process. And again, from a use case perspective, if you're working with an agent, if you're working at an agency or consultancy, this could be a prospective client's website that you're bringing in just to do some quick ideation work for a pitch. Or this could also be, if you're a non-designer, let's say you're a business stakeholder, and you have an idea for your core product within the organization, but you don't have access to the design files, or even if you do have access to the design files, you're not adept at using a professional design tool, that the designers use. This is something that you can use to help speed up that process. Of course, we do have live collaboration in here, so you can see my colleague Florian has joined us. We can see with the icon here, and what he's going to do is he's going to help me fill in some of the content. So once you've got a generation, you might want to go through, change some of the images, change some of the text. This is, of course, is all inspiration, so you want to make it your own. And of course, you can collaborate with as many people as you want in this environment. We have some features to help you with content creation. So we have things like a text assistant here, where I can click on any text, I can click suggest, and what this will do is generate different versions of copy for me. Again, this is a big time saver. I might not want to use lorem ipsum. I might have an idea of what I want to write down, but then I can just click generate and generate through lots of different versions of copy. We also have an image assistant as well, which quickly finds relevant, commercial-free, royalty-free images that I can use in my designs really, really quickly. And then, of course, on the left-hand side here, if I click on image, we have our Unsplash integration. We have a Giphy integration. You can upload your own images, but you can also generate your own images as well. So let's say if I want an airplane flying through the skies, and we'll click a photo finish, and I'll click generate image. And what this will do is generate 4 images for me. And this feature is great. It saves you time on trying to find the right stock imagery, especially in the early stages of ideation, where maybe you just want relevant images in there. And then quickly I can generate the images. If I click start again, using the same text prompt, it'll come up with 4 completely different images. So you can use it as many times as you want until you find the images that you like. Now, we got a couple of features to finish off with. We also have Focus Predictor. With Focus Predictor, if I click on any screen here, you'll notice this button at the top. And if I click this button, what this is going to do is generate a heat map for me based on what people are most likely to give focus and attention to. So as you can see here, my heading at the top is getting a lot of focus and attention, but my CTA at the bottom, not so much. So maybe I want to experiment with this. Maybe I want to make it bigger. Maybe I want to experiment with the color contrast or the sizing. There's lots of things I can do. And this is great at helping me, maybe come up with hypotheses or, improve my designs before we even go on to real user testing. You can use this feature in reverse as well. So it doesn't have to be designs that you've used in Wizard. You can actually take screenshots of your existing designs. You can bring them in, you can add them into Wizard, and you can just run Focus Predictor and start building hypotheses. So it's a really good feature for that. Now,
Riz,
finally,
one question I thought would be good to share now that a community member has asked is, when we're sort of generating things, we're using Focus Predictor, all of our wonderful AI features. Just want to sort of go over again that you are able to do this as many times as you need until you get to your sort of desired outcome. So when we're sort of using image assistance or the Focus Predictor, we are able to sort of keep going, aren't we? There's no sort of limitations on how often you can use those features.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've done as well is we've included that in our pricing tiers. So if you try out our free plan, you can use these a couple of times just for testing. Our pro plan is great for kind of like an individual project. But of course, if you're going to be using this a lot in your workflow, you're most likely to go on our business plan where all of these features are unlimited. So really, you just need to check out and pick what plan is going to be best for you. I'll finish on wireframe mode. So, some of the feedback that we get. And actually, before I do, I should also point out, you're seeing these arrows on the screen. Everything that you generate here in Wizard automatically becomes a clickable interactive prototype. So immediately, I click interact here. You can see all of the connections. And I can just it's as easy as clicking on a component and selecting like so. And when I come here to preview modes, I can actually experience the prototype. So I can click through. I can send this off so anyone else can click through and leave feedback. And leaving feedback is as easy as clicking on notes and clicking and pointing where you want to leave feedback. But I can also use this to provide additional commentary, especially if I'm passing this around and I'm not going to be there to explain things or add additional context. With wireframe modes, this is a great way of switching between different fidelities. So if I click on wireframe mode here, I can click the switch, and immediately you'll see I have jumped down in fidelity. Now, this is great, especially if you just want to focus on structure, or perhaps you even want to start off this way. You can start off your generation by producing it in wireframe mode and working from this viewpoint, this fidelity. Some of the use cases we've seen for this is a lot of design teams actually use this, where they take some of their existing designs, they bring them into Wizard, and then they click the switch to send it off for feedback. And the reason they do that is because oftentimes business stakeholders can get a bit caught up when providing feedback in the content. Especially if they're a specialist in that area, they could say, okay, this isn't the right product you've got in the image, or this isn't the right description. And oftentimes that's not what the designer is looking for. The designer is looking for feedback on structure and layout and these types of things. So wireframe mode is a great way to, either get feedback, get relevant feedback by just clicking a switch, or maybe you're starting from scratch. And right now you just want to focus on the structure and then focus on the content afterwards. You can work from this mode. You can flick the switch, and then you can fill in the content using all of the AI features I just showed you, and change the theming and the styling using Theme Generator. And that's a quick walkthrough of Autodesigner and the Wizard platform. Do we have any questions?
We certainly do have questions for you, Riz. Firstly, thank you so much. Keep the questions coming as we run through some of them. As I said, we've been collecting all of your questions from our YouTube live stream, our social media channels, so we'll get to as many as we can. I think one question that was asked, which was really interesting, and I think this helps with auto design generation and also theme extraction, is when we're including websites, Riz, how many different websites can we do? Is it just sort of really big websites that are very common? You mentioned Vogue, BBC, or is there other sort of different types of websites, maybe smaller ones? So what type of websites can be used?
Yeah, my guideline on that right now is, if it's a big website, you can use it as a reference. But at the beginning, it's purely for inspiration. You're just trying to get look and feel. So if you really want to be as specific as possible with like a smaller website, my recommendation would be to use Theme Generator post conversion to make it look exactly how you want.
Great. And a really interesting question that we've seen, and I think is a wider conversation in the industry, is how do we believe this will benefit designers instead of maybe replacing them?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've heard a lot of that this year, people getting replaced by AI. I don't see that as a case. As you can see from today's demo, we're using AI to speed up the process. It's not about replacing people, it's about making their lives easier. And with designers in particular, speeding up that process of just being able to work with visuals immediately already adds tremendous value. Again, if you think about the different workflows, because workflows are important, agencies and consultancies, you're working with a brand new client, just having visuals straight away, being able to have visuals in the proposal stage just really helps. And then with some of the more product mature teams as well, the way that we see this being used is just like in brainstorming sessions, get out of Figma, get away from your design system and just get back to pure ideation. So we our mindset here isn't about replacing our customers, essentially who are our customers, is about helping them speed up the process as much as possible. And the other thing I should point out as well is in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see this question mark. If you click on here, Firstly, you'll have keyboard shortcuts, which I recommend getting used to because it'll make your life a lot easier when editing inside a wizard. But the other thing is as well is that we're really strong on the feedback that we get from our users. So, you know, as you're using this, if you feel that there's something we can do to help speed up your workflow, please submit it here. It doesn't go into a black hole. We actually do collect this information and analyze it. Any other questions?
Yeah, we've got lots, so let's try and get through as many as we can. One that was asked a few times on different channels, which you have just covered, but maybe we can just go over it slightly again, is how do we see this solution fitting in a really large organization? So how can big teams really benefit from Autodesigner and other features in Wizard?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, we actually work with quite a lot of large organizations, and the use cases, it really varies. It really depends on the organization. There's some organizations we're working with, and we're working with a team that unfortunately they're working on internal solutions, and so they just don't get access to design resources. And we're really able to provide value to those teams by democratizing that skill to the level that they need. And then with design teams, again, you know, being able to speed up that process of visuals in the ideation stage provides tremendous value. So it really depends. Like we really fit in where, you know, visuals need to be produced as quickly as possible. And that really could be anywhere within the organization, because ideation is not just something that sits within the one department. It's company wide.
Yeah, for sure.
And one interesting anecdote that I would like to add here, which reason it blew our mind when we found this out, is how many product people in large organization would actually default to do prototyping and design in PowerPoint, in Keynote, in Google Slides, because they just don't want to bother opening a complex design tool. And this is where, again, you know, these people can start in Wizard to communicate the idea with the team, collaborate, ideate, and eventually, you know, bring the design to the next stage of development.
We have a few questions on the amount of screens that can be generated and if it's possible to do one screen at a time, two screens at a time. So what's the capabilities around that?
Yeah, I can talk to that. I mean, right now, you know, this is in beta, so this is our first iteration. We do have plans to allow you to generate things on a screen by screen basis. In terms of like specifying the number of screens that you want, that's not something that we currently have. And I imagine, I don't know how that's going to work. We might need to discuss that with the product team, especially as I can imagine, you know, if an idea only has so many screens, it only has so many screens. So even if I want 10 screens, it may not warrant 10 screens. But the first thing that we're planning on doing is allowing you to generate one screen at a time.
Perfect. And I think there was a sort of question around the wireframing process. I don't know if we've got time just to quickly show that one more time in terms of what it looks like when you complete the wireframe and how you're able to sort of switch between the two.
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple. If you just click on Magic and you come here to Wireframe Mode, just by clicking the switch, you can immediately jump between fidelity. And what you'll notice is like even the screenshot that I brought in and converted, it also jumps in fidelity as well. So it really is as simple as that. And of course, you know, if you're starting from blank, what you'll get is you'll get like an empty screen like so. And then when you look at the components here on the left-hand side, you'll notice how everything is all automatically in that fidelity. So you can kind of like start off in that lower fidelity, and then really, you know, it does actually act like the structure to your design. You don't have to create a second version, which is higher in fidelity. You just click the switch and build upon the foundations of what you've done.
Amazing.
Right.
Well, I think that is all we have time for. Thank you so much for everyone for taking the time to celebrate Autodesigner with us. We are so excited to see how you utilize it, how it positively impacts your workflows. But we do want to keep this conversation going. We want to continuously learn and have feedback from you. So please share your designs with us on social media. We're using the hashtag #CreateWithAutodesigner, and the whole team will be scouring the internet looking at what you're creating. If you want to keep the conversation going further, please do join our community space. We have a dedicated Autodesigner channel there, so you can keep the conversation going. And if you're looking to try Autodesigner for free, we are actually running a social media competition on our Twitter page at the moment that has just launched while this call has been going on. So please head over to our Twitter page to find out all the details. But as always, the whole of Uizard team would like to thank the community for their support over the past couple of weeks. We've loved seeing how you're using Autodesigner, and we can't wait to see what's to come. So take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.